Jack Harper, a 55-year-old long-haul trucker from the heart of Texas, had always found solace in the endless ribbons of asphalt that crisscrossed America. His weathered Freightliner, a beast of a rig painted in faded blue, carried everything from Midwestern grain to California electronics. For 25 years, he'd been married to Mary, a steadfast homemaker in their modest Dallas suburb home. She was the type who kept the porch light on during his weeks-long absences, raising their two boys, now grown and off to college in Austin and Houston, with quiet determination. Mary's life revolved around the simple rhythms: church on Sundays, quilting with neighbors, and those cherished evenings when Jack was home, grilling ribs in the backyard under the starry Texas sky. She'd call him every night at truck stops, her voice a comforting anchor amid the hum of diesel engines. "Drive safe, honey," she'd say, and Jack would reply with tales of the road, omitting the growing emptiness that gnawed at him. The boys' departure left the house echoing, and their conversations often drifted to retirement dreams, a small ranch, perhaps. But Jack felt trapped, the miles blurring into monotony. His routes varied, but fate, or perhaps habit, kept pulling him back to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nestled along Interstate 40, the city was a hub for agricultural machinery shipments. The warehouse there, a sprawling complex of metal sheds and forklifts, often required him to wait days for loading. It was during these layovers that Jack discovered the Desert Star Motel, a quaint, sun-bleached establishment off the highway. The sign flickered neon against the arid landscape, promising clean rooms and free Wi-Fi. The owner, Anna, was a 42-year-old widow with a resilient spirit. Her husband, a mechanic, had perished in a freak garage accident 5 years prior, leaving her to manage the motel and raise their young son, Tommy, alone. Anna had dark, wavy hair, often tied back in a practical ponytail, freckles from the relentless sun, and eyes that sparkled with a mix of weariness and warmth. She greeted guests with genuine smiles, pouring complimentary coffee in the lobby while sharing local tips, best tacos in town or hidden hiking trails in the Sandia Mountains. Jack first noticed her on a dusty afternoon, checking in after a grueling drive from Oklahoma. "Rough roads today?" she asked, sliding him a key card. Her voice had a soft southwestern lilt that cut through his fatigue. He nodded, and over time their exchanges grew longer. Anna confided in him about the challenges: leaky roofs during monsoons, rowdy truckers, and the loneliness that crept in after Tommy's bedtime stories. Jack, feeling a spark he hadn't known in years, lied impulsively one evening. "I'm single myself. Divorced ages ago. The road's my only companion." The lie felt harmless at first, a white fib to keep the conversation flowing. That night, they shared a meal at a nearby diner, green chili enchiladas and cold beers. Anna opened up about her grief, how she'd rebuilt her life brick by brick. Jack listened, his rough hands cradling a mug, feeling alive in her presence. Their connection deepened quickly. Stolen kisses in the motel's back office, whispered promises under the vast desert stars. Jack started routing more loads through Albuquerque, fabricating delays to his dispatcher. With Anna, life was vibrant. They'd drive out to the Petroglyph National Monument, her hand in his as they traced ancient carvings on volcanic rocks. She cooked homemade pasoli in her small apartment behind the motel, laughing at his bad jokes. Tommy adored Uncle Jack, begging for stories of cross-country adventures. But nuances emerged. Anna's subtle insecurities from her past marriage made her clingy at times, probing about his ex with veiled jealousy. Jack dodged, weaving more lies, but her passion, fiery arguments followed by tender makeups, kept him hooked. Meanwhile, back in Dallas, Mary sensed shifts. Jack's calls grew shorter, his homecomings distracted. She'd plan romantic dinners, but he'd stare out the window, mind on New Mexico sunsets. He loved Mary deeply, for her unwavering support through tough times, like when he battled a back injury years ago. Yet Anna offered escape. No bills, no routines, just raw emotion. Jack rationalized his double life as a necessity. Men like me need the road's freedom, he'd think, ignoring the guilt that twisted like a knot in his gut during long hauls. 3 years blurred by in this precarious balance. Jack celebrated anniversaries with Mary, quiet dinners at their favorite steakhouse, while marking milestones with Anna, like weekend getaways to Santa Fe's art galleries. He bought gifts, a silver necklace for Mary, turquoise earrings for Anna. The deception weighed heavier. Nightmares of exposure haunted him. Anna hinted at commitment, dreaming of him settling in Albuquerque. "We could expand the motel," she'd say. Jack promised vaguely, torn between two worlds he cherished equally. He convinced himself change was unnecessary. "I love them both. Why choose?" But cracks appeared. Mary complained of his absences. "You're here, but not really." Anna grew suspicious of his erratic schedules. "Is there someone else?" Fights with Anna were intense, her temper flaring over canceled visits, followed by passionate reconciliations that left him exhilarated yet exhausted. With Mary, arguments were subdued, rooted in quiet resentment. Jack's health suffered. Sleepless nights, skipped meals, but the thrill of duality addicted him. Then, disaster struck on a moonless night along I-10 in Arizona. Jack, bleary-eyed after 14 hours behind the wheel, missed the brake lights of a stalled semi ahead. The collision was catastrophic. His rig jackknifed, crumpling against the guardrail in a symphony of shattering glass and twisting steel. Pain exploded through his body. Then, oblivion. Paramedics pulled him from the wreckage, airlifting him to a Phoenix trauma center. He lingered in a coma for 3 days, machines beeping in rhythm with his fragile heartbeat. Waking groggily, tubes snaking from his arms, Jack's vision cleared to a nightmare. Mary and Anna stood side by side at his bedside. Mary's face was etched with worry, her hand clutching a rosary. Anna's eyes burned with confusion. The highway patrol officer, rummaging through his smashed phone at the scene, had dialed the top contacts: Mary, home, and Anna, motel love. Both women, thinking they were his sole emergency contact, rushed to the hospital, only to collide in the waiting room. The revelation unfolded like a storm. Mary, voice trembling, demanded, "Who the hell are you?" Anna, tears streaming, hissed, "You said you were single." Accusations ricocheted, years of lies exposed in raw detail. Jack, weak and bandaged, mumbled apologies, but it was futile. Nurses intervened as shouts echoed down the hall. Mary stormed out first, vowing divorce. Anna followed, her parting words a dagger. "You played with my heart like it was nothing." The room fell silent, save for the monitor's steady beep. Recovery was agonizing. Broken ribs, a shattered leg, months of physical therapy. But the emotional toll dwarfed the physical. Discharged to a sterile Dallas apartment, Mary had already changed the locks. Jack wallowed in isolation. He quit trucking, taking a desk job shuffling paperwork in a logistics firm, staring at screens that mocked his former freedom. Nights were torment, replaying memories of Mary's gentle touch, Anna's laughter echoing in the desert wind. He drank too much whiskey, flipping through old photos on his phone. Guilt consumed him. "How could I hurt them so?" he'd whisper to empty walls. Mary, his rock, now faced betrayal after decades of loyalty.
Friends whispered, sons distanced themselves in shame. Anna, rebuilding from widowhood, had her trust shattered again. Tommy lost his uncle, confused and heartbroken. Jack sought therapy, a gruff counselor probing his psyche. You chased thrills at their expense. Sessions unearthed buried fears, aging, irrelevance, the void of a life on wheels.
He attempted amends, letters to Mary begging forgiveness, flowers to Anna's motel, returned unopened. Both women moved on. Mary joined a support group, rediscovering independence. Anna sold the motel, relocating with Tommy for a fresh start. Jack's sons visited sporadically, their conversations strained. He volunteered at a trucker support hotline, warning others of deception's cost. Infidelity isn't freedom, he'd say. It's a chain that binds you tighter. Years later, Jack sat on his balcony, gazing at the Dallas skyline. The road called faintly, but he resisted. He'd learned, love demands honesty, not division. The nuances of his affairs, fleeting joys masking deep pains, haunted him, but also forged growth. He dated sparingly now, seeking genuine connection. Reflecting on that fateful crash, Jack realized it wasn't the accident that broke him, it was the lies. In solitude, he found a fragile peace, vowing never to inflict such hurt again. The story of Jack's double life became a cautionary tale among his old trucking buddies, shared over coffee at diners. Don't live split, he'd advise. It splits you in the end. Mary thrived in her new chapter, traveling with girlfriends. Anna built a bed and breakfast in Colorado, her resilience shining. Jack, forever changed, drove short local routes occasionally, the horizon a reminder of what he'd lost and gained in wisdom. Life's roads, he knew, were best traveled true.
If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and write in the comments what you would have done if you were in Michael's place.